Good morning, everyone. It is Friday. It is May 1st. I can't even believe this. I'm gonna sip on my coffee while I'm chatting with you because there's this like nice cool breeze out here, but the warmth of the coffee cup feels really good. So yes, it's May 1st. Happy May. Many of us have made it through now like 6 weeks of quarantine. That is pretty incredible. And I was thinking a little bit last night about how unbelievably like wild this all is. I mean, none of us have ever lived through anything like this. None of us probably ever even imagined that we would be living through something like this. So it is really, it's so layered. It's wild. It's just fascinating. And it's also fascinating how adaptive we all are. In the face of adverse circumstances and circumstances, not consequences. So today we are going to celebrate the first day of the month, 6 weeks of quarantine, with some thoughts on self-love. So self-love is a really hard thing for many of us to do. And I'm not just talking about, we're proud of ourselves for something we did, or we said, hey, that was a good job. I did a good job with that, or I did the best I could. I'm talking about surrendering 100% to loving yourself unconditionally in all circumstances and situations, which is really hard for a lot of us to do because a lot of us didn't grow up, right, with in environments where maybe love was given unconditionally or in abundance, or many of us grew up thinking that, in order to receive the love of parents and teachers and other caregivers, that we had to be obedient or we had to please them in some way. So in a way, it can be really hard. We can really be sort of, the wiring can be so deeply ingrained in a lot of us that like, I can't love myself unconditionally because I'm just, I'm a bad person, right? Or I'm not good enough, right? Or I'm not good enough to receive love. So a lot of us can have those beliefs, which really interferes with your ability to completely love yourself without, with reckless abandonment, so to speak. So today we're going to, in honor of May, which is also Mental Health Awareness Month, and I want to make you aware that May is the month every year that we celebrate mental health awareness. We try to spread the word that mental health matters, that mental health is physical health, and that mental health is just as important as anything else, right? And we really want to work and raise awareness to end the stigma of mental health. So, and oftentimes where there's mental health challenges, there's a deficit of self-love, and it can be difficult to love ourselves when we struggle with certain mental health challenges, right? Because there's so much of a stigma too with that. So today's practice all about self-love. All right, so go ahead and find that comfortable, sweet seat that you've been using. And if you're here, please go ahead and say hello. Let us know where you're joining from. And if you have any questions or comments, we definitely appreciate that and look forward to conversing with you more. So go ahead and find that comfortable seat. Whatever that is for you, you can be sitting, you can be laying down, you can be just lounging on your couch, you can be standing in your kitchen, however you feel most comfortable. But really, this is an invitation to just pause and to get present and to invite this sense of self-love into your consciousness and awareness. So I want you to first just kind of notice when I say the word self-love, kind of what arises in your body immediately. So notice if there is a sense of welcoming that, if there is a sense of wanting to push that away. So notice if there is any sense of resistance to that, or if a lot of thoughts arise that sort of indicate reasons why you can't love yourself, right? So just notice that. Notice that immediate response in the nervous system, in the body, in the mind to the phrase self-love. And notice what comes to mind if the word self-love has a deeper meaning for you. So what does that mean? What does that look like? And I'd like to invite you to also identify an intention that you can have around self-love. So maybe that is maybe that's something you can do, right? To offer yourself a greater sense of love. Or maybe it's something that you can practice today that will continue to foster feelings of greater self-love. Remember, it's just small little steps, right? And if you already feel like you don't struggle with self-love, or that is something that comes easy to you, think about ways that you can amplify that today. So what can you do to even amplify that more, or to maintain it, or to sustain it? So just one little thing you can do. Maybe it's go for a walk, cook a nice meal, take a nice warm bath, meditate, pray, write in your journal. So one little thing that you can do to really amplify your sense of self-love today. And so even when you identify the thing in your mind that you can do to foster more self-love today, notice what arises in your body in response to that image or that thought or that intention. So for example, if you're going to take a walk today through the forest, what arises in your body when you imagine being in that forest or being in the presence of the trees? Or if you're going to cook yourself a nice meal today, what is invoked in your body? What do you sense in your body when you imagine the smells and the tastes? And so just allow yourself some time to explore what these acts of self-love really feel like in the body. Notice if there's any response from the mind. Notice if there's any resistance from the mind or resistance to the body. Notice if there's any muscles that tense up. Or if there's any thoughts that are pulling you away from the present moment. But really allow yourself to fully embody and experience on the inside this inner aliveness of self-love. And allow yourself to receive the sensory information, the sensory input, right, from these little small acts of taking better care of ourselves and loving ourselves more and taking the time to do something that communicates that we are important and we matter and our needs are important. And the more I can attend and attune to my own needs, the more I love myself. Just allow yourself to sit, explore the breath, right? So remember, we've talked in the past about anchors of awareness. And so if you notice that your mind is wandering, then just allow yourself, kind of reconnect with your breath. Maybe take a nice deep full breath in. Just allow yourself to sit here with the presence of your own embodied sense of what it is to love yourself and care for yourself, with attunement and warmth and sensitivity. So whatever that small little act of self-love that you are committed to doing today, continue to just sit and allow yourself to receive the sense memories or the sensations and sensory awareness that this act of self-love invokes. Just continue to notice and observe the aliveness inside of you, the presence of your body, the presence of the breath. As you inhale, just notice all the spaces in the body that the breath fills and the breath flows, places and spaces where the breath moves. And on your next few breaths, imagine breathing, inhaling and exhaling into every extremity in the body, every space, every part, including all parts and pieces in the breath. Notice how the breath can touch all places in the body. And if it's hard for you to do this, if it's hard for you to find a way to love yourself more today, or if there's a really an overwhelming sense of resistance to that, then see if you can commit to considering, right, or exploring or being curious about the idea of bringing more self-love into your life. And to allow yourself to be curious versus judgmental about this. Curious, like, wow, isn't that interesting? It's really hard for me. I really struggle with this. And just because I struggle doesn't mean I'm not capable. Just because it's not coming easy to me right now doesn't mean it won't ever come to me. That everybody struggles, we all struggle. Just maybe 2 to 3 more breaths here. Just noticing where your sense of aliveness is now versus where it was when we started. So just notice any shifts in the nervous system. Perhaps just noticing either whatever has arisen for you here. And just allowing whatever has arisen to be valid and important, and accepting and receiving your experience exactly how it is in this moment without wanting it to be different. So I hope that was helpful, and you can take a few breaths and maybe move the body a little bit just to kind of bring yourself back into this space, and maybe just meeting eyes. You know, you can meet eyes with me, you can meet eyes with somebody else, maybe in your vicinity, just to kind of bring yourself back into that present moment, and where you're fully here and present and embodied. And so I hope that was helpful, and if you'd like, it can be really helpful to kind of go and sort of journal a little bit about your experience, especially if it was a powerful experience in any way, just kind of capturing that in a few sentences. So just knowing that you can always come back to that for reference, because really self-knowledge is one of the keys to releasing like suffering in our lives. The more we know ourselves and the more we know how the energies inside of us move and patterns and rhythms and all of that, the more we know ourselves, the more we can be free and liberated from suffering, from all that causes us to suffer. So I hope that was helpful. And again, I'm going to be talking a lot this month about mental health awareness, because here at Jewish Family and Career Services, that is what we are experts in, right? We work to help those living with mental health challenges and all kinds of challenges every day to live better, just healthier lives, and to really help people to improve the quality of their lives. So if you or anybody you know is struggling with a mental health challenge, please do not hesitate to reach out. We are happy to help you navigate that. So you do not have to suffer in silence, right? Silence and shame, when we bring these things into the light, shame gets much smaller, and silence only leads to more suffering. So you don't have to suffer alone, right? So there's tons of people here who get and understand where you're coming from. So please feel free to leave a comment, ask a question, get in touch with any of us if you so desire. So I wish you a beautiful weekend filled with lots of peace and self-love. Remember, going into the weekend with self-love. All right? Okay, y'all take care. Bye.